Right, I hope I'm audible now. It's been a long time. Um I am thinking of starting with this book called Django for Beginners by William Vincent. Seems like a pretty cool book. I always wanted to just really, how do I say this? Structure my learnings in Django that have accumulated over the past year or so. Like for a person with imposter syndrome like me, even a year of working with a Django code base doesn't convince me that yeah, I really know how to work around a Django project, and I actually probably don't. So yeah, learning this is going to go a long way for me. I'm going to have a good hold over at least one uh, web framework for building websites, website backend it is. So yeah, I was on page 47 last time. Let's start from there. Each app should control an isolated piece of functionality. Django project can contain, let me better. Can you read with me? I think you can. Each app should control an isolated piece of functionality. If you take a look at settings file, yeah, there's a lot going on here. There are already 6 built-in apps Django has provided for us. Apps किधर है? Ah, admin, auth, content type, sessions, messages, static files. They are located in django.contrib directory. No, I do not concur. ये कहाँ पे है ये? Sorry, I'm very sorry. There are already 6 built-in. They are located in the Django contrib and has control functionality for the admin auth, content type, sessions, messages, and static files. You don't need to know what each one does at this point. Nothing is forcing the app convention. You could write all of your code in a single file. When you want to add functionality to the Django project, for example, an e-commerce site might have one app for user authentication, another for payments, and a third to power item listing details. How and when you split functionality into apps is very subjective. A good rule of thumb is that when a single app feels like it's doing too much, it's time to split features into separate apps, each with a single function. Fine. To create a new app, go to the command line, quit the running server using Control C. I don't think I'm on a server right now. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's been on all night. Then use the start app command followed by our app's name. Then use the start app command followed by app's name. We will use the name pages by the management by start app pages. Best practice in Django is for app names to be plural pages, payments, etc., unless doing so does not make sense, such as for a blog app. If you look visually at the alright, I hope you can see my screen. Oh, okay, this is too big. This is reasonable. Python manage.py start app. When I do this, pages you said. So abhi I think this is the okay. You don't start a project again and again. प्रोजेक्ट एक रहेगा, इसमें ऐप्स मल्टीपल रहेंगे आई गेस. माइग्रेशन सी, यहाँ पे माइग्रेशंस वगैरह की बात हो रही है. दिस इज़ माई प्रोजेक्ट. Okay, I'm having some difficulty understanding what's going on. Admin py file. Register your models here. Create your models here. Apps, I'm not sure what it does. Create your tests here. Create your views here. Sweet. This is a configuration file for the built-in Django admin app. Apps.py is a configuration file for the app itself. Migrations keep track of the changes in the models.py file, so it stays in sync with our database. Models.py is where we define our database models, which Django automatically translates into database files, right? App specific tests, where we handle the request/response logic for our web app. Views.py is where we handle the response request logic. All right. Even though a new app exists within the Django project, Django doesn't know about it until we explicitly add it to Django project settings.py file. So I will have to add it over there down to installed apps. Add pages at the bottom. Understood. Let's see if cursor does it for us. See, auto complete में होगा शायद. Installed apps. Yeah. How do you get this, man? Sheesh. Yeah, that autocomplete is spooky. It's the only reason I would buy cursor again. Otherwise, no. We'll create a static page for our first website that outputs the text "Hello World." This page does not involve a database or even a template file. Instead, it is a good introduction to how views and URLs work in Django. Use a Python function, accepts a web request, returns web response. Fine, okay, big deal. Not a big deal, I mean. अभी pages में let's go to the view. I like this line. I'm being a little slow right now, I'm sorry. Response can be HTML contents of a web page, a redirect, forward error, image, almost anything. When a web page is requested, Django automatically creates HTTP request object that contains metadata about request. Django loads the appropriate view. Okay. Loads the appropriate view. Passing HTTP request is the first parameter to the view function. View is ultimately responsible for returning an HTTP response object. In our pages app, there is already a file called views.py which comes with the following default text. Yeah, create my views here. We will take a proper look at a render in the next chapter, but for now, update with this code. What am I doing? Just go back. Let's step through it line by line. Home page view. Import a HTTP response from the Django.http module. Define a function called home page view. In Python, it is customary to use small case. Snake case, sorry. The first parameter into a view is the HTTP The first parameter passed into a view is the HTTP request object. The first parameter passed into a view is the request object. Convention to name it as a request for readability. Okay, it's an HTTP request type. It is a convention to name it request for readability, but the order is what matters, not the name. So you can technically call it REQ, whatever. The view returns an HTTP response object with a string of text hello world. All views work this way. First, you define a name for the view. Name for the view कहाँ डाला मैंने? Okay, I'm assuming that's the name of the function name is the name of the view. First, you define a name for the view. Name the HTTP request object, request in this case, and then return something. Adding more logic and parameters to views is possible, but the general pattern is the same. All views work this way. First, you define a name for the view. Work this way. First, you define a name for the view. Name the HTTP request object. Return something. Adding more logic and parameters to views is possible, but the general pattern is the same. Without view I start to configure a related URL. In your text editor, create a new file called. Why do I need to create this now? If I need URL dispatching, why is it not in the defaults? It is in the defaults. No, it's not in the defaults. Why is it not in the defaults? In the text editor, within the pages app. Why though? Okay, fine, big deal. urls.py. Add this. Let's understand what's going on. From Django, whatever, from view this thing. URL patterns, path. If it's this, then it go to home page here. Understood. It's fairly straightforward. On the top line, we import path from Django. Path from Django to power a URL pattern. By referring to the views.py file as .views. Hi. Sorry. Prefix is a leading path for us. Leading slash for us. Here has two parts. The route itself, here defined by the empty string. Reference to the user request, the home page represented by the empty string. Called. We're almost done at this point. The last step is to update a Django project.urls file, the gateway to other URL patterns distinct from each app, the gateway to the other URL patterns distinct from each app. The architecture pattern makes sense as we build increasingly complex. Okay, cool. Django automatically imports and sets a path for the built-in admin. To include additional URL paths, we import the function include from Django.urls module and then set its path. I can live with this. Okay, so you go to the project URLs file, URL dispatcher, and path and include if I'm not wrong now. Path, whatever. This is already there. ठीक है. Sorry, Virgo part. Now, wherever user visits the homepage, represent by matching URL routes. We have all the code we need. Confirm everything works as expected. Start. Yay. Cute. If you refresh, display. If gap, car. That's it. We created a Django project from scratch, had our first interactions with Django's architecture and typical pattern, creating a project and then an app within it, writing a view, connecting the view to a URL dispatcher. It is possible to be clever and write a Django Hello World app in fewer lines of code and even on a single file. See the repository Django micro framework if you're curious to learn more. But it's more important to start internalizing typical Django project structure and patterns at the stage. And this new git ignore file, I had a single line for venv, JSON file. New requirements.txt file will appear with all are installed packages and their dependencies. If you look inside this file, you will see 9 packages, even though we have installed only 2. Django and Black, that's because Django and Black also depend on other packages. Often the case that when you install one package, you install multiple different packages. Hence keeping track of all those thing is critical in a sense. You want to perform a first git commit. Git has a lengthy option where you got a message to your commits. Yeah. Okay, let's commit stuff. Git add tha na, sorry my bad. Is there anything else that shouldn't be here? I'm still getting pain, huh? It's not nice. For context, I basically had a health scare recently. I had like 2 cups of coffee from the office, and coffee doesn't really agree with my stomach. It gives me pretty bad acidity. I don't know, I ended up having it that day because there was nothing else to do. So I drank it. It was good for a while. And then on the bus home, like the acidity like went so overboard that it gave me a heartburn, and like my chest started hurting like properly. Like I was scared I'd die or some shit like that. So yeah, that was like 3 days back. I was better yesterday, but right now it's hurting again. I had a mango and all, man, after waking up. What else do you want me to eat? Let's see. I've been eating a lot, Ray. Get add minus all. Okay. Let's just leave. Not get. Freeze requires nothing added, no? Yeah, cool. Git commit -m init learned how to create a project. Create apps within it. Router views.py file, and learned how to add it to URL dispatcher of its native app, and the overall and the overarching, I don't know. Understood overall architecture of Django and how URL dispatcher plus view is really the only thing mandatory to relearn. Templates and क्या था वो? Models later. Oh, that's good. ये push minus u origin में personal website. Why do you want to create a personal website, huh? Why do you want? In this chapter, we will build a personal website containing a home page and an about page while learning more about Django's templates. Function-based tests, function-based use and testing. Templates are the presentation layer. I need something to eat, huh? I'm not feeling great. Are you doing this so that मतलब हाथ में बस जाए मेरे? Why are we creating projects everywhere? कुछ भी मतलब. I'll use the same project. Quite a few. What the hell? Next step is creating a URL start by 5. ये डाल दिया था ये, हाँ पेजेस का यही है। Yeah, I should see this now. Render the request into the new view is named about page view and has its first parameter the HTTP request object, which we have named request. Django's template loading engine looks for a template subdirectory in each app. But it is not the best practice. Done. templates pages. ये मैं समझा नहीं मेरे को पार्ट. No, what? This is an excerpt from a textbook on Django, the Python web app framework. Can you explain why I need to namespace my template files? Like, even if there are two separate about.html files for two different apps, can't I differentiate based on the name of the app? All the templates in your installed apps. Not very convinced, but okay. तो अभी URLs में डालना पड़ेगा ना इसको. वेट, बट मैंने व्यूज़ में नहीं डाला है वो फंक्शन. क्यों है फंक्शन? दिस वन. ये डाल दिया, ये डाल दिया, व्यूज़ में आई टेक दैट रिक्वेस्ट। अब इसको यूआरएस में डिस्पैच करना है मतलब। हाँ परफेक्ट। और अभी प्रोजेक्ट में जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है मेरे को। हाँ प्रोजेक्ट का तो हो गया। हाँ बरें बरें, ऑल गुड, ऑल गुड, बरें बरें बरें. बे ये about attempting to replace dedicated JavaScript frontend. So deliberately limited. So front ends like Vue, React, or Angular. Rather, it is a deliberately limited. समझा नहीं है मेरे को। What does the comment tag in Django's templating library achieve that a normal HTML comment doesn't achieve? Fuck, is that so? Fuck. This is big. Fuck, huh? This is a revelation. Damn. Nice. Damn, cool. Store them within an app and buy. That's enough. Yuck. Shut up. कॉन्टेक्स्ट किया था ना वैसे पास. ओ सॉरी. असलें छे. क्या हुआ, मैंने क्या गलत किया? माय नेम में सही तो है. समझ गया. Sick boy, awesome. Look at my name, boy. Cool, that is cool. Is the context dictionary that is used during the render function for a template, is that thing used commonly even with front end sites like Vue, React, or Angular. So if I'm to use Django for a serious production grade project, I am probably not going to interact with context very often. Yes or no? The disconnect between context and the JSON response way of sending data to the front end. That's client side rendering. Screw it, I think I understood what's going on. Sending variables backend in the form of context refers to server side rendering of templates. A common way of doing this with same thing date doing of data Does this note make sense? Okay, thanks to stop LARPing. LARPing. हाँ यार, बिग डील. Age very close, almost too close for comfort. Ma? Writing test code is as important as writing code itself, but number of integration tests. Simple test case is used when a database is unnecessary, while test case is used when you want to test the database. Transaction test case is used to helpful to test database transactions directly, while launch is a live server thread for testing with browser-based tools like Selenium. Methods in unit test. Kamic case rather than Python snake case. Let's see what this does. भाई बहुत सारा ये किया है यार. We learned the last time I created a particular file. We can start. Fuck. Maybe I didn't do the right thing, yeah. I put this to GitHub. Oh shit. एकदम वही होगा. I can't do this anymore, can I? क्रिएट कैसे हुआ था ये? M दिखा रहा है ये. I hope this doesn't kill me in the future. Yeah, I'm sorry that happened. I'm pretty dumb about this. इसमें क्या डाला था मैंने? ये डाला था बस. Okay, fine. Tests. Learned how to create simple unit tests. I think I have more to add. Wait, huh? Tests कहाँ है? Yeah, I need to add a few comments here. There are 4 types of unit tests. This is my personal website. Oh, come on, man. Okay, so far so good. I think we are on page 70, which is, I'll do another session sometime today. Maybe try to reach 100, let's see. But yeah, this should be good enough for now. Cool, I'm done for now. I'll get going. Bye bye. Bye bye, guys.